You know what fascinates me? The power of a single thought. Just one thought can change the entire trajectory of your life. Think about that for a moment. Everything you see around you, every building, every invention, every success story, started with a single thought in someone's mind. I remember walking through a grocery store back in the 1980s. I was dead broke, working a minimum wage job, barely making ends meet. And there was this moment, this profound moment, when I saw an elderly couple shopping together. They weren't buying anything fancy, just basic necessities. But what caught my attention was their attitude. They were smiling, joking, making the best of what they had. And right there, between the canned goods and the cereal boxes, a thought hit like a bolt of lightning. Your circumstances don't determine your state of mind. Your state of mind determines your circumstances. That single thought changed everything for me. It wasn't immediate. Transformation rarely is. But it was the spark that started the fire. You see, thoughts are like seeds. Plant a negative thought, and you'll harvest doubt and fear. Plant a positive thought, and you'll harvest opportunity and growth. And here's what's amazing. You have this same power right now, right here, in this moment. The same force that can lift someone from poverty to prosperity, from despair to hope, from failure to success. It's already within you. It's not something you need to acquire. It's something you need to activate. That's what we're going to explore today. How to activate this power, especially when life throws its toughest challenges at you. Because tough times, they're not the end of your story, they're the beginning of your comeback. Now, let me share something powerful with you. Something that might just change your life. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for circumstances to change. They're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect situation. But here's the truth that successful people understand. Life doesn't get easier by chance. It gets easier by choice. You see, you might not be able to control every situation that comes your way. You can't control the economy. You can't control what other people do. You can't control the weather. But you know what you can always control? Your response? That's your power. That's your gift. That's your opportunity. Let me tell you about two people I once knew. They worked at the same company, same department, same job. The company went through tough times and had to cut everyone's hours. The first person spent all day complaining, why is this happening to me? This isn't fair. When will things get better? Second person asked different questions. What can I learn from this? How can I use this extra time to improve myself? What opportunities am I not seeing? Same situation, different questions, completely different outcomes. You see, the quality of your life isn't determined by the quality of your circumstances. It's determined by the quality of your questions. Questions you ask yourself determine the focus of your mind, and the focus of your mind determines the quality of your life. Now, here's one of my favorite metaphors, one that changed my understanding of personal responsibility. Your mind is like a garden. Think about that. A garden doesn't care what you plant in it. It will grow whatever seeds you put there. Plant tomatoes, you get tomatoes. Plant weeds, you get weeds. The garden doesn't judge. Your mind works the same way. Every thought you allow to take root is like planting a seed. Every thought you nurture will grow. You can't stop negative thoughts from flying through your mind, just like you can't stop birds from flying over your garden. But you can stop them from building a nest. You can choose which thoughts to water, which ones to nurture, which ones to let grow. This is where personal responsibility becomes powerful. You are the gardener of your mind. Nobody else can tend your garden for you. Nobody else can pull your weeds or plant your seeds. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And that's your opportunity. Remember this? Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can let your circumstances define your thinking, or you can let your thinking define your circumstances. You can be a victim of conditions, or you can be a creator of conditions. The choice, as it has always been, is yours. Let me tell you something that might surprise you about positive thinking. It's not about walking around with a permanent smile plastered on your face. It's not about pretending everything is perfect when it isn't. Real positive thinking is about seeing things as they're, but seeing the opportunity within every difficulty. Here's what most people don't understand. Success isn't built on big dramatic actions. Success is built on small actions, repeated day after day after day. It's like building a brick wall. Each brick might seem insignificant on its own, but when you place them consistently, one after another, eventually you've built something substantial. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. I met a woman in one of my seminars back in the early 90s. She was struggling with debt, working 2 jobs, barely keeping her head above water. But instead of trying to make some grand, dramatic change, she started with something small. She decided to wake up 30 minutes earlier each day to read books about financial management. Just 30 minutes. For the first week, nothing changed. For the first month, nothing dramatic happened, but she kept at it. By the 3rd month, she had learned enough to create a basic budget. By month 6, she had discovered ways to cut her expenses without sacrificing her quality of life. After a year, she had started a small side business based on the knowledge she'd gained. 5 years later, she owned a successful company. Now here's what's fascinating. When people heard her success story, they'd ask, what was the big break? What was the turning point? And she'd tell them the turning point was those 30 minutes every morning. They couldn't believe it. They were looking for some dramatic event, but the real magic was in the small, consistent action. You see, success is rarely about doing extraordinary things. It's about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. It's about mastering the fundamentals. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Want to improve your relationships? Start with giving one sincere compliment each day. Want to get in shape? Start with a 5-minute walk. Want to write a book? Start with 1 paragraph a day. These actions might seem too small to matter, but that's exactly why they work. They're so small, you can't fail. And success, my friends, is built on small victories. Here's another powerful truth. The size of your success is determined by the size of your daily habits. Big dreams are achieved through small actions, repeated consistently. Every major achievement in history was built on the foundation of daily discipline. Think about it this way. If you improve yourself just 1 each day, in a year, you'll be 365 better. That's the power of small actions compounded over time. That's the reality of positive thinking put into action. It's not about positive thinking alone. It's about positive thinking combined with positive action. Remember this. The distance between where you are and where you want to be is shortened by small steps taken every single day. Your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. Start small, but start now. Because small actions, multiplied by time and consistency, create remarkable results. Let's talk about something real, something that everyone faces but few people know how to handle properly: setbacks and failures. Most people run from this conversation. They want to talk about success, about winning, about achievements. But here's what I've learned. Your response to failure shapes your capacity for success. You see, failure isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It's not your opponent. It's your opportunity. Every setback carries within it the seed of an equal or greater comeback. But you've got to be willing to look for it. You've got to be willing to learn from it. Let me tell you about my own experience with failure. Back in my early days, I started a business, put everything I had into it, worked day and night, and you know what happened? It failed. Lost everything. I remember sitting at my kitchen table, looking at bills I couldn't pay, feeling like my world had ended. But that failure taught me more about business than any success could have. It taught me about risk management, about market research, about the importance of having mentors. That failure wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of my education. Here's something most people don't understand. Success is a terrible teacher. It makes you think you're smarter than you are. It makes you think you're better than you are. But failure strips away the excess. It shows you exactly what you need to learn. It shows you exactly where you need to grow. And here's what's fascinating about setbacks. They reveal your true character. Anyone can be positive when everything's going well. Anyone can be confident when they're winning. But your response to setbacks, that's what defines you. That's what shapes your future. This is where perspective becomes crucial. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in a decade. They give up too soon. They quit right before the breakthrough. They see failure as final instead of temporary. Let me share something powerful with you. The most successful people I've ever met had the longest term perspective. They understood that temporary defeat is not permanent failure. They understood that losing a battle doesn't mean losing the war. They understood that setbacks are setups for comebacks. Now here's where gratitude comes in, and this might surprise you. Learn to be thankful for tough times. Yes, you heard that right. Be thankful for setbacks. Why? Because tough times create strong people. Tough times reveal your true capabilities. Tough times are like a strong wind. They tear away from us all, but the things that cannot be torn, so we can see ourselves as we really are. Think about things. Every problem you face, two things: a burden and a gift. Most people only see the burden, but successful people look for the gift. What's the gift of failure? It makes you stronger. What's the gift of setbacks? They make you wiser. What's the gift of obstacles? They make you more. Here's a practice that can transform your relationship with setbacks. At the end of each day, especially the tough ones, ask yourself 3 questions. What did I learn today? How did this make me stronger? What opportunity does this create? Remember this, the size of your success is determined by how you handle your failures. The depth of your impact is determined by how you handle your setbacks. The height of your achievements is determined by how many times you're willing to get back up. You see, life will knock you down. That's guaranteed. But getting up, that's a choice. And every time you get up, you get stronger. Every time you face a setback and keep going, you build resilience. Every time you fail and try again, you develop character. Don't wish for an easy life. Wish for the strength to handle a tough one. Because it's not about avoiding setbacks. It's about growing through them. It's not about having no failures. It's about failing forward. It's not about having no problems. It's about having better problems. Now let's talk about something that can transform your entire life. Building mental strength. Your mind is exactly like a muscle. The more you challenge it, the stronger it gets. The more you train it, the better it performs. But here's the key that most people miss. Just like physical strength, mental strength must be developed daily. Think about a bodybuilder. They don't walk into the gym once a month and expect results. They don't lift weights occasionally and expect transformation. They show up every day. They follow a specific routine. They understand that consistency is everything. Your mind works the same way. Let me share with you the most powerful routine I've ever discovered, one that can revolutionize your entire day. It's what you do in the first hour after you wake up. This first hour is sacred. It's when your mind is most receptive, most malleable, most ready to be programmed for success. Most people do it all wrong. They wake up and immediately grab their phone. They check social media. They look at the news. They start their day by programming their mind with everyone else's priorities, everyone else's emergencies, everyone else's drama. Then they wonder why they feel stressed, overwhelmed, and negative. Here's what successful people do differently. They own their morning. They protect their first hour like it's worth $1 million, because it is. They understand that how you start your day determines how you live your day, and how you live your day determines how you live your life. Let me give you a specific morning routine that can transform your mental strength. I call it the Power Hour, and it's divided into 3 20-minute segments. First 20 minutes, feed your mind, read something that educates, inspires, or challenges you. Not news, not social media, real books, real wisdom. 20 minutes of reading can give you more insights than most people get in a week. Second 20 minutes. Plan your day, not just a to-do list, but a victory list. Write down your top 3 priorities. Visualize yourself accomplishing them. See yourself handling challenges with grace and confidence. This isn't daydreaming. This is mental preparation. Third 20 minutes. Move your body. Take a walk, do some stretching. Anything that gets your blood flowing. Physical movement changes your physiology, which changes your psychology. When your body moves, your mind follows. Now, let's talk about visualization. One of the most powerful tools for building mental strength. Every professional athlete uses it. Every successful entrepreneur practices it. Yet most people never tap into its power. Here's how to do it effectively. Take 5 minutes before any challenging situation. Close your eyes. See yourself handling it successfully. Feel the confidence in your body. Hear the words you'll say. Experience the satisfaction of success. This isn't positive thinking, this is mental rehearsal. This is programming your mind for success. But mental strength isn't just about morning routines and visualization. It's about the conversations you have with yourself throughout the day. Most people have no idea how much their internal dialogue affects their external reality. They let their mind run wild with negative thoughts, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs. Here's a powerful technique. Whenever you catch yourself in negative self-talk, immediately ask, would I say this to my best friend? If the answer is no, don't say it to yourself. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. Every negative thought is like doing a negative rep in the gym. It makes you weaker. Instead, develop the habit of empowering self-talk. When you face a challenge, say to yourself, I can handle this. When you feel overwhelmed, say one step at a time. When you feel doubt, say, I've overcome challenges before. And I remember this. Your mental strength is determined by the habits you practice daily. Just like you wouldn't expect to build physical strength by lifting weights once a month, you can't build mental strength through occasional practice. It requires daily discipline, daily practice, daily commitment. Start treating your mind like the most valuable asset you own, because it is. Guard what goes into it. Train it daily. Challenge it regularly. Feed it the right nutrients, good books, empowering conversations, positive associations. Remove the toxins, negative people, time-wasting activities, self-defeating thought. The beautiful thing about mental strength is that it compounds over time. Every day you practice these principles, you get stronger. Every challenge you overcome builds resilience. Every positive thought creates new neural pathways. You're not just changing your day, you're literally rewiring your brain for success. Your mind will either work for you or against you. The choice is yours. But once you commit to building mental strength, once you start treating your mind like the powerful tool it is, everything in your life begins to change. Let's talk about something crucial. Why most people fail to create lasting change in their lives. You see, everyone wants to change their life, but few people understand how change really works. They rely on motivation, but motivation is like a hot shower. It feels great, but the effect doesn't last. That's the truth about lasting change. Motivation gets you started, but habits keep you going. Think about it. Every January, gyms are packed with motivated people. By February, most of them are gone. Why? Because they relied on motivation instead of building habits. They tried to change too much too fast instead of making small, sustainable changes. Let me share something powerful with you. Your life changes the moment your standards change. Not your wishes, not your hopes, not your dreams, your standards. What you tolerate, you encourage. What you accept becomes your standard. What's interesting is that most people have higher standards for their coffee than they do for their life. I knew a man who struggled with his health for years. He tried every diet, every exercise program, but nothing stuck. One day his daughter was born and something shifted. He looked at that tiny baby and realized he had to change his standards. It wasn't about wanting to be healthy anymore. It was about refusing to be unhealthy. He decided that being out of shape was no longer acceptable. That shift in standards changed everything. Here's what most people don't understand about standards. They're not about what you want to do. They're about who you want to be. This brings us to the most powerful aspect of lasting change. Most people focus on changing their actions, but lasting change comes from changing your identity. Instead of saying, I want to lose weight, say, I am becoming a healthy person. Instead of saying, I want to make more money, say, I am becoming a successful entrepreneur. The difference is subtle, but profound. You see, when you change your identity, your actions naturally follow. A healthy person doesn't have to force themselves to exercise. They exercise because that's who they are. A successful entrepreneur doesn't have to force themselves to work hard. They work hard because that's who they are. Let me give you a practical framework for creating lasting change. I call it the 3 levels of change. 1, change your standards. Decide what you will no longer accept in your life. Change your story. Rewrite the narrative about who you are and what you're capable. 3, change your strategy. Develop daily habits that align with your new identity. But here's the key. You must start with standards. Your standards create your story, and your story creates your strategy. Most people do it backward. They try to change their strategy without changing their standards or their story, and then they wonder why change doesn't last. Remember this. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Every time you make your bed, you're voting for being an organized person. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're voting for being a reliable person. Every time you choose the harder right over the easy or wrong, you're voting for being a person of character. The beautiful thing about this approach is that it removes the need for willpower. You're not forcing yourself to change. You're simply acting in alignment with who you're becoming. The question isn't, what should I do? The question is, who am I becoming? So ask yourself, what are your current standards? What are you tolerating that you shouldn't be? What story are you telling yourself about who you are? What identity are you voting for with your daily actions? Because in the end, you don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. Let me share one of the most overlooked secrets of 6. You will become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not just a saying, it's a fundamental law of personal growth. Your environment shapes your expectations. Your associations shape your aspirations, and your relationships determine your reach. Think about it. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you're the most successful person in your circle, it's time to expand your circle. If you're the most positive person in your group, you need a new group. Not because those people are bad, but because growth requires challenge. And challenge comes from being around people who are ahead of you. Let me tell you something I learned early in my career. I noticed that unhappy people tend to hang out with unhappy people. Broke people tend to hang out with broke people. Successful people tend to seek out other successful people. It's not coincidence, it's connection. Your net worth is influenced by your network. Your growth is influenced by your group. Here's a powerful truth. There are 2 types of relationships in your life. Those that lift you up and those that pull you down. The people around you are either raising your standards or lowering. They're either energizing you or draining you. They're either expanding your vision or limiting it. Start evaluating your associations. Who are you spending time with? What are their goals? What are their standards? What are their habits? Because whether you like it or not, these things are rubbing off on you. Remember this. Life is too short to spend time with people who don't challenge you to grow, who don't inspire you to dream, who don't push you to become better. Seek out mentors. Find role models. Connect with people who have already achieved what you want to achieve. Your future self will thank you for the company you choose to keep today. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge. Right now, in this moment, make a decision. Not a weak decision that you'll try to be better, but a strong decision that you will be better. Because here's the truth. Your life will never be the same once you truly decide. Look, tough times don't come to stay. They come to pass. But who you become during these times, that stays forever. The strength you develop, the wisdom you gain, the character you build, these are permanent assets that nothing and no one can take away from you. Remember what we discussed today. Your thoughts shape your reality. Your standards determine your life. Your habits create your future. And most importantly, you have everything within you right now to begin your transformation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Don't wish for a better life. Build it. Don't hope for change. Be the change. Because life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. The choice is yours. The time is now. And the person who can change everything, that person is you. Make today the day you look back on and say, that's when everything changed. Thank you. And remember, your best days aren't behind you. They're ahead of you. Now go make them happen.